The champagne flute trembled slightly in my hand as I stood at the edge of my sister Natalie's engagement party, watching her hold court in the center of the room like a queen addressing her subjects. Designer dress, perfect blonde highlights, that practiced smile she'd perfected in front of mirrors since we were kids. "Oh my God, Jess actually showed up," she announced loudly enough for all 50 guests to hear, gesturing toward me with her own champagne glass. "Everyone look. My loser sister decided to grace us with her presence." The room turned to stare. I forced a smile, the kind I'd learned to wear in board meetings when someone underestimated me. "Still single, still struggling," Natalie continued, her voice dripping with false sympathy. 28 and nothing to show for it. But hey, at least she's consistent, right? Some people peak in high school, some people never peak at all. The laughter that rippled through the crowd felt like tiny needles against my skin. I saw familiar faces, aunts, cousins, family friends who'd known us since childhood, all chuckling at Natalie's performance. This was her favorite game, building herself up by tearing me down. I was about to quietly leave when I noticed her fiancé, Ryan, standing frozen by the bar. His face had gone completely white, his eyes locked on me with an expression of pure horror. "Wait," his voice cut through the laughter, sharp and disbelieving. That's Jessica Webb." Natalie giggled, wrapping her arm around his. "Yeah, babe, my tragic little sister. I told you about her. The one who dropped out of college to play with computers? Lives in some studio apartment, probably eating ramen every night." "That's JL Webb," Ryan said louder, his voice climbing an octave. Oh my God. She's the owner of my company." The music stopped. Actually stopped. The DJ, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere, killed the volume entirely. "What?" Natalie's laugh was nervous now. "Don't be ridiculous. Jess works at some little startup." "Natalie." Ryan's voice was deadly serious. "Your sister is JL Webb. She owns Nexus Creative Solutions. She signs my paychecks. She's my boss's boss's boss." The champagne glass slipped from Natalie's hand, shattering on the marble floor with a crystalline crash that seemed to echo forever. I took a sip of my champagne, finally stepping forward into the circle of light. "Hello, Ryan. Enjoying your time off? I approved your PTO request for the engagement party myself. Congratulations, by the way. Ms. Webb, I had no idea you were." He was stammering, looking between Natalie and me like he was trying to solve an impossible equation. "Natalie's sister? Yeah, we don't advertise it. Different last names and all." I kept my voice calm, professional. "She uses our mom's maiden name. I use Dad's. Makes things simpler. Different names because she's embarrassed by association." Natalie spat, trying to recover her composure. "This is ridiculous. There's no way my loser sister owns a company worth $47 million at last valuation," I finished. "Though we're expecting that to double after the Microsoft contract goes through next month. You know about that, right, Ryan? The expansion into the Seattle office." Ryan looked like he might faint. The contract you've been negotiating? The one that's going to create 300 new jobs." "That's the one." The room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. Aunt Catherine, who'd laughed the loudest at Natalie's loser sister comment, was now staring at me like I'd grown a second head. "This is impossible," Natalie whispered. "You're lying. You have to be lying. Pull up the Nexus website," I suggested to the room at large. Several phones appeared immediately. "Check the About Us section. There's a lovely photo of me shaking hands with Governor Martinez at the Tech Innovation Awards last year." "Holy shit," someone whispered. "It's really her. Forbes 30 under 30, another voice read from their phone. Founded company at 23, valued at $47 million, youngest female tech CEO in the state." "But you said." Natalie turned to me, her perfect composure cracking. "You said you worked at a startup." "I do work at a startup. My startup. The one I started in my studio apartment, eating ramen, just like you said. Only difference is, I turned that struggle into an empire while you were busy mocking it." The gathered crowd was shifting now, people moving away from Natalie like her failure to recognize my success might be contagious. Ryan hadn't moved at all, still frozen in place, calculating the catastrophic mistake he'd made by association. "How long have you two been together?" I asked conversationally. 6 months. 8, Ryan croaked. "Ah, so you started dating right around the time of our Series B funding. Interesting timing." I turned to Natalie. "Did you ever wonder why Ryan was so interested in your family? Why he asked so many questions about me?" Or were you too busy calling me a loser to notice? The implication hung in the air like a blade. Ryan's face went from white to red. That's not. I didn't know you were sisters when we met. No. You didn't notice the family photos at her apartment? The ones she definitely has hidden in drawers because she's embarrassed of me? You didn't think it was odd that she never invited me to dinners, never mentioned my actual job, never once suggested you two visit me? I loved her before I knew. Ryan protested. Did you? Or did you love the idea of getting closer to the tech scene? Tell me, Ryan, how many times did you casually mention wanting to move up in the company? How many hints did you drop about meeting important people through Natalie's connections? You're twisting things. Am I? Check his LinkedIn, I said to Natalie. I bet it mentions his connections to tech industry leaders by now. Probably updated it right after you two got serious. Natalie pulled out her phone with shaking hands. I watched her face crumble as she read. Engaged to Natalie Peterson, sister of tech entrepreneur J.L. Webb, she read in a hollow voice. Updated 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I mused. Right after the Microsoft deal was announced in TechCrunch. What a coincidence. Natalie, baby, I can explain. Ryan reached for her, but she stepped back, glass crunching under her designer heels. Explain what? That you knew my sister was successful? That you let me humiliate her while you were planning to use our connection? Or explain why he's been sending me LinkedIn messages for months asking for family discount considerations on our vendor contracts? I pulled up my phone. Should I read them out loud? They're quite persistent. You've been messaging her? Natalie's voice was rising. Behind my back? For business. It was just business. Just business. Right. I pocketed my phone. Like dating the sister of someone you want to impress is just business? The crowd was fully invested now, phones out, probably live streaming the drama. Natalie's perfect engagement party was becoming viral content in real time. You knew, Natalie said, turning on me with tears streaming down her face. You knew what he was doing and you didn't tell me? Tell you? When? During the family dinners I wasn't invited to? The birthday parties you forgot to mention? The group chats you removed me from? I set my empty glass on a nearby table. I haven't had a real conversation with you in 3 years, Natalie. Every interaction we have consists of you mocking me while I bite my tongue. So this is revenge? This is natural consequences. You built a relationship on lies. Telling him I was a nobody, telling everyone I was a failure, telling yourself you were better than me. He built it on exploitation, using you to get to me. You two are perfect for each other, actually. Except now the truth is out. I didn't know you owned a company, she screamed. Because you never asked. Too busy posting Instagram stories about your tragic sister to actually have a conversation with me. Do you know how many times Mom tried to tell you about my success? How many times Dad brought newspaper clippings to show you? But you always had something better to talk about. Your promotions at the mall, your influencer partnerships, your perfect life. The mall, someone whispered. I thought she said she was a marketing executive. She's a shift supervisor at Nordstrom, I clarified. Which is honest work, nothing wrong with it. Unless you're lying about it to make yourself seem more impressive while calling your CEO's sister a failure. The whispers grew louder. Natalie's carefully constructed image was crumbling in real time. Ryan, she said desperately. Tell them it's not true. Tell them you love me for me. Ryan was already backing toward the door. I need some air. This is all. I need to think. You're leaving? Natalie's voice cracked. At our engagement party? What engagement? I asked quietly. You think he's going to marry you now? Now that he knows you've been lying about me? Now that everyone knows he was using you? That ring on your finger is a business investment, and the stock just crashed. As if on cue, Ryan yanked off his tie and headed for the exit. I'm sorry, Nat. I can't do this right now. The door slammed behind him. Natalie stood in the center of her ruined party, mascara running, surrounded by broken glass and shattered illusions. Are you happy now? She asked me. You've ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything. I just existed. You're the one who made my existence a punchline. I gathered my purse. For what it's worth, I'm sorry it happened this way. I came here hoping maybe we could start fresh, maybe things could be different. But you couldn't resist, could you? Couldn't resist making me the butt of the joke one more time. I didn't mean. Look at my loser sister. Still single, still struggling. Your exact words, in front of everyone. Did you mean those? Silence. That's what I thought. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Natalie? Next time you want to brag about your successful fiancé who works in tech, maybe Google him first. Ryan Mitchell isn't even his real name. It's Ryan Kowalski. He changed it because he was fired from his last 2 companies for insider trading attempts. My HR department flagged him months ago. The gasps from the crowd were audible. You hired him anyway? Aunt Catherine asked, incredulous. He's a decent programmer when he's not trying to social climb. I believe in second chances. But apparently, he didn't learn from his first 2 strikes. Strike 3 is using my sister to get to me. I look back at Natalie one last time. The engagement was never going to last, sis. I just sped up the timeline. I left the party in ruins behind me. My driver was waiting outside. Yes, I had a driver now, something else Natalie didn't know because she'd never asked. Rough night, Ms. Webb? Harrison asked as I slid into the back seat of the Tesla. Illuminating, I corrected. Very illuminating. As we pulled away, I saw guests fleeing the venue like rats from a sinking ship. Tomorrow, the Family Gossip Network would be on fire. Natalie Peterson, the golden child who had everything, exposed as a liar whose fiancé was a con artist. Jessica Webb, the loser sister, revealed as a multimillionaire CEO. My phone buzzed. Mom, what did you do? The text read. Showed up to a party I was invited to, I responded. Not my fault the truth followed me there. Your sister is devastated. She'll survive. I did. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before Mom's final message. We need to talk about this as a family. No, I texted back. We needed to talk 3 years ago when Natalie started her campaign of humiliation. We needed to talk 2 years ago when she uninvited me from Christmas because I made everyone uncomfortable with my weird job. We needed to talk last year when she told our cousins I was probably a drug dealer because there was no other explanation for my new car. Now we need nothing. I blocked her number. Then Dad's. Then the aunts and uncles who were surely already choosing sides. My company didn't happen overnight. It took 5 years of 18-hour days, of choosing code over clubs, of missing family events because I was too busy building something from nothing. While Natalie was perfecting her image, I was perfecting my product. While she was collecting Instagram followers, I was collecting investors. The studio apartment she mocked? I'd written the code that became our flagship product at that kitchen table. The ramen dinners? Fuel for the late nights that turned into breakthrough innovations. The tragic life she painted for her audience? It was the cocoon I was building my empire inside. But she never asked. Never wondered why I stopped complaining about money. Never noticed when I stopped asking to crash on her couch. Never questioned why I was suddenly too busy to attend her weekly wine nights where she'd dissect my failures for entertainment. She was too busy being the star to notice I'd become the sun. The next morning, my assistant fielded calls from reporters who'd caught wind of the story. Tech CEO's secret identity revealed at sister's engagement party gone wrong. The headlines wrote themselves. I declined all interviews. Natalie could deal with the spotlight she'd always craved. Ryan's resignation letter was on my desk by noon. Short, professional, no mention of the disaster. I approved it immediately and had security escort him out. His coding wasn't that good anyway. By evening, Natalie had posted a lengthy Instagram story about toxic family members and jealous sisters who can't stand to see others happy. The comments weren't kind. People had done their research, found my company, seen the truth. Her influencer career, built on authenticity and family values, imploded in real time. She called me once, late that night. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. You destroyed my life, she said without preamble. I attended your party. You humiliated me. I introduced myself. You're the one who called me a loser. You're the one who was engaged to a con artist. You're the one who built a house of cards on lies about your own sister. All I did was exist in my truth. My truth? God, you tech people are so pretentious. We prefer successful. I hate you. I know. You've hated me since we were kids, and I tested into the gifted program while you didn't. You've hated me since high school when I got into MIT, and you didn't. You've hated me since I started a company while you were still figuring out your major. The only difference now is that everyone else knows why. You think you're so much better than me. No, Natalie. I think I'm different from you. You measure success in followers and ring size. I measure it in innovation and impact. You need an audience to validate your existence. I need solitude to build my dreams. We were never going to understand each other. So that's it. You're just going to let me rot. I'm going to let you grow. Maybe without Ryan, without the lies, without the constant need to put me down to lift yourself up, you'll finally become someone real. Someone worth knowing. I am real. Real people don't need to announce how much better they are than their sisters. Real people don't build relationships on lies. Real people don't mistake cruelty for comedy. She hung up on me. That was 6 months ago. I heard through the family grapevine that she'd moved back in with our parents, deleted her social media, started therapy. Good for her. Growth hurts, but it's necessary. Ryan tried to sue me for wrongful termination. My legal team laughed him out of court. Turns out, using a false name on your employment application is grounds for immediate dismissal. Who knew? The family eventually split into camps, Team Natalie and Team Jessica. I didn't engage with either. I was too busy closing the Microsoft deal, opening the Seattle office, and proving that success is the best response to those who doubt you. But sometimes late at night in my actual penthouse apartment, not the studio Natalie imagined, I think about that moment when the music stopped, when Ryan recognized me, when Natalie's world shifted on its axis, when everyone realized the loser sister was actually the winner all along. I don't feel victorious. I feel validated. For 28 years, I'd been the supporting character in Natalie's story, the cautionary tale, the comparison point that made her shine brighter, the failure that proved her success. But I was never a supporting character. I was the protagonist of my own story, building an empire in the margins of her narrative. She called me a loser at her engagement party. Her fiancé called me boss. The music stopped. The wedding stopped. The lies stopped. And for the first time in our lives, everyone saw us clearly, not as she painted us, but as we really were. Natalie, the golden child tarnished by her own polish. And me, the failure who'd succeeded beyond her wildest dreams. Look at my loser sister, she'd announced to everyone. They looked. They saw. They understood. And that's the thing about calling someone a loser in public. You better make sure they actually lost. Because if they didn't, if they won while you weren't watching, if they built something beautiful while you were busy mocking them, well, then the music stops. The crowd stares. The truth emerges. And everyone discovers who the real loser was all along.